What's up, guys? It's Mark here. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a while. From some of you that have seen some of my previous videos, you realize like in my past, like I used to travel all around South America, Central America, around the US as a DJ, playing mainly house music. Back in the day, it was, I hate being like the back in the day guy, but back in the day, it was literally turntables in a mixer like this. I mean, we lugged around all through the airport, flight cases like this, filled with vinyl, which, I still have many of. Most of them are in my basement. But, we'd carry around these flight cases. We show up at the club. We'd have 2 turntables, a mixer, and that's pretty much what we had to work with. This is before CDs were kind of a thing with DJing. Once those came out, it was definitely kind of like mind-blowing. Then it kind of transitioned to the digital thing with Tractor and Serato and things like that. It went from there to now, with Pioneer and their CD players being able to use thumb drives. I used to carry on this flight case through the airport, or a bigger one depending on how long of a gig it was or how long I was out. And then all of a sudden, this became my flight case. These 2 little thumb drives had enough music for me to play for days and days and days. So there was no need for any of that stuff. But, as technology evolves, there's things like this, like the push controller that, you see a lot of the techno guys using to DJ with. There's even controllers like, the machine that people are using to add a little bit of a live element to it. There's other, there's 1,000,001 Tractor controllers out there. But the problem is with most of this stuff, it costs a fortune, especially if you're just kind of like an up-and-coming DJ or producer and you're starting to get out there. You probably don't have $4,000 to spend on a full-on setup with 2 CDJs and a proper mixer. So I'm going to take you through what I think is the most budget DJ setup that's actually, well, one, it sounds really good, it's fun, and it gets the job done. If you're playing a smaller lounge, you're playing all night long, this is the perfect setup for that, where you can really have fun, you can be hands-on, and you won't have to spend probably, I'd say $200, provided, I'm assuming if you're getting into DJing, you probably already have some sort of computer where you can store your music, and, hopefully, or not hopefully, but maybe you probably have an old iPad laying around, or a current iPad that you use as your main go-to. But I'm going to take you through the setup that I've actually used before doing smaller lounge sets. That's actually a lot of fun, ridiculously portable, and fun to travel with. So I'm going to take you through that. But first, a small history lesson, because that's what everyone wants to hear from the old guy that used to be the DJ. Okay, so it's time for the old guy to give you a history lesson on the way things used to be back in my day, as the old people say. So as I was saying, usually, we basically had 2 techniques and we had a mixer. And most of the time in the clubs back in the day, that mixer was usually some sort of Rain, MP24 or MP44, I forget the name of it, but it basically was, individual channels, usually 4 channels, but it had a master EQ across everything. So you couldn't do anything fancy really. It was good for blending, but don't think you were doing anything really super creative with that. That was pretty much what we primarily used. Everything kind of changed in the late 90s when Pioneer came out with this mixer right here, which is the DJM 500. Up until this point, the main mixer companies were, you had Newmark, you had Vestax, you had Rain, you had Gemini, but they were kind of piece of shit budget mixers. It's usually what everyone started on until they got sick of it and wanted something actually decent. So when this Pioneer came out, this was the most mind-blowing thing on the planet. This first came out, all you heard was people hitting the flange button over and over and over, or with a delay, you get this effect all the time. And it was, at first you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, but then I got really old really fucking fast. Flange was kind of that crush that everyone, pretty much fell onto. So it was really, at the time it was cool, but then it got old quick. But the actual mixer itself was amazing. This thing, this is one of the original DJM 500s, and this thing is built like an absolute tank. It still works flawlessly. So, this kind of opened the floodgates with what Pioneer was doing. As they're up to now, I don't even know what it's up. I think it's the DJM 2000 with 3 million effects on it. But again, when this came out, this was I don't know, $1,500, $2,000. Now you can probably get these for I don't know, maybe $100-200 on eBay, but these things are still great. I still use it in here with my turntables connected to it all the time. It's great. I actually love this mixer. It sounds amazing. It still works. I don't need all the crazy effects. It has 4 channels, which is, more than enough. But, that was showing the transition where things were going before everyone kind of jumped onto the digital bandwagon. Okay, so where am I going with that long history lesson that I just kind of like rambled on and on about? Basically, my point is that things were evolving. You had to keep buying new stuff. Things started getting like ridiculously expensive. Not everything was really the standard anymore in the club. Now, Pioneer started to be everywhere. Then Allen and Heath came in. They started to pop up everywhere. Everyone was going to CDJs. I always hated to bring a laptop into the club with me. One, I was just afraid somebody's going to spill a drink on it, if not myself. Or, I was going to have some sort of crash. But the problem was, back in like the vinyl days, like I could tell you any single record, like, what I was playing, just basically like based on like the sleeve. Like I could look at a record and be like, think in my mind, like, oh yeah, it was the one with like, the yellow sleeve with the skull. Like I know exactly what song that was. Once it started to switch to CD, like a lot of that went away. And then all of a sudden it's like, you got 12 tracks on a CD. You don't remember what anything is because you're getting so much music. And then, once places like Beatport came around, the quality and the amount of stuff that was getting released was absolute garbage. So it was harder to really sift through. Like a lot of these records, like I've had for, 10, 15, 20 years because like, they're like quality. It took a lot to get an actual release put out back in the day. But I can still remember like, oh, this song has this jacket or like this artwork on it. Like, let me throw that on. It was a little harder with white labels, but still I could write my notes on the sleeve and like, know what to play. But like, a lot of these, like the old Gorilla stuff, like, you see these things and you instantly know what it was. So once I went to CD, it was getting harder. And then once it kind of transitioned to, being able to have your entire your entire music library on your laptop or on thumb drives, it just got to be impossible to keep track of everything. So, what I was playing out, like I was trying to keep things very specific. I would make playlists just for the club I'm playing at. But again, that could get out of control quickly. And I just wanted like to get back to the whole just fun of DJing and not like worrying about, I used to be like the worst with having to be like all the super unreleased stuff that no one else had. But then it's like, who cares? Like the only person that's going to know is some dude that's like standing over the DJ booth trying to train spot, or like, some other DJ is going to be the only person that knows. Your whole point of being a DJ is to get people to dance. And I can guarantee you, nobody's going to care how you're doing it, like which equipment you're using, as long as you're playing good music and getting people out on the dance floor. So that brings me to this whole point of this long rambling video is, if you're starting out or, you just want to scale back and get back to the fun of it, like what is, the best budget DJ setup that there is? And I think I found the answer. It's something that I've used personally. And it's been like a lot of fun for me to kind of mess around with and really see what it does. And just the way I can travel with it is, it's pretty amazing. So I'm going to stop babbling and get over and kind of give you like, what I think is the top budget set. Okay, so this is pretty much it for me. I have an older iPad that I erased everything off of that's mainly just running Traktor DJ2, which is a free app from Native Instruments. It's a scaled down version of Traktor, but there's so much that you can do with it. And then the other piece of it is this right here, which is the Traktor Kontrol Z1. New, these are about $200, but you can find them on sites like Reverb and eBay for like $100 or so. Literally these two things, and I have a little case for it. I could easily, and I have easily played small club gigs with this setup, lounge gigs with this setup. It's really fun. The sound card is built into the Z1, so you have like full control, and everything is automated. Not automated, but everything is like you have control over all of the faders, all of the EQs and filters, and even the effects. So this is endlessly fun. It's really, really easy to use. It's very, very affordable. And there's a ton of features on here. So, I can control like, all the start and playing from the Z1. And, the tracks start up instantly on Traktor DJ. And you can see like on the other tracks, like, there's a little prep work that goes in this, but like, I can set up all my different cue points, my loop points, things like that. So like I can just bring in like the second track here, and I already got like, you know, mix going with the two of these, and then with the Z1, like I said, like I can control the reverb from the Z1. So, you know, everything's running from that. I can listen, I can cue things up on the Z1. But what's really cool with Tractor 2, let me turn this other track off. So like this, I don't even think the normal Tractor does on the desktop, and this is fun for when you're out. You know, if you go into your library, it pulls up a lot of recommendations of things that are like already in key, so it gives you other ideas that you normally wouldn't go for if you just had lists of playlists go on your laptop. You know, I fall in that trap a lot, but this is a ton of fun. All it is literally the iPad, the cable that connects to the Z1. There's a power adapter for the Z1, and that's it. I mean, you know, you're looking at, if you have like an old iPad that you can install this on, you can spend $200 new if you want the Z1, or like 125 on Reverb, and you have a sound card, 2-channel mixer. You can, you know, control all the EQ, the effects, filters. If you're going to be doing any kind of like, you know, like reverb, delay, there's a few other like glitchy effects on here, but you know, you can stop everything from here. You can pretty much, you could do it all. And you know, this has been a pretty rock solid setup. All I have is the audio output of the Z1 running into like my other mixer that runs into my main studio computer. But literally, you can just take the output from this, just like I did. Like if you're in a small club or you're in, you know, like a lounge or something like that, you can just run the output from the Z1 into just like one of the line channels on the mixer and have like full control over it. So like you can see everything's coming in here. You don't need to like spend a ton of time like unhooking things, hooking everything up. Everything's ready to go. And it's super straightforward. It's super fun. You can get really hands-on with everything with the Tractor software, which is amazing. I'm not plugging Tractor. It's just free and it's awesome. So, you know, why not go with what works? But yeah, I mean, that by far I think would be the best budget DJ. A very long-winded video to get to the point of just saying that Tractor Control Z1, an old iPad with Tractor DJ2 loaded on it. You can easily play any small club, small lounge all night long. Just, you know, have your music imported in your iPad from your computer. It sounds really, really good. The sound card that's built into the Z1 sounds amazing. You can either just plug it into the line, or like a line channel on, if there's like a house mixer, or I mean, you can just run it straight into a PA, and it sounds great. It's fun, and again, like nobody's gonna care what you're using as long as you're playing good music and people are dancing. You know, that was one of the, as I was saying, that was one of the biggest things. Like I always had to have the newest and like, you know, the most like unreleased music, but it was like, what's the point? If people aren't dancing, or, you know, if they are dancing, like they're not going to care how the hell you're playing the music, as long as it's good, it sounds good, they're dancing, they're having fun, you're having fun. So, you know, if you're just starting to get into it and you don't want to spend like $4,000 on a full-on, you know, like Pioneer setup with 2 CDJs and a new Pioneer mixer, or a new laptop with like a giant Tractor controller, spend $125 on a used Z1, load up an old iPad with Tractor 2 on it, and you're off. That's all you need to really get going. I'll put a couple links in the description to the Z1. Like I said, new, it's around $200. Used on Reverb, I've been seeing them around like $100, $125. You can probably find them on eBay even cheaper. But they're, you know, rock solid. They're super straightforward. I never had a crash with, I've had a crash with the original version of Tractor DJ, but the Tractor DJ 2 is rock solid. I haven't had any problems there. I highly recommend like checking out, even if you just want to mess around at home or you're playing like house parties or college parties. Like, you know, again, nobody's going to care what you're using as long as you're playing good music and you're having fun and people are having fun. So that's my old man rant about back in my day as a DJ with vinyl to up until now just playing with an iPad and a Tractor Z1. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I know this is rambling, but I just figured I'd give you my 2 cents and my recommendation for the best budget software or DJ setup that's out there, combining like the software and a little hardware look and feel. Yeah, just, again, leave a comment, hit me up if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer whatever.